say you fell out of the Jeep, right? And they left you for dead. Say you fall out of the Jeep, right? Like, then you're on your own. You get lost. Maybe you get off the path and you're like, oh my goodness. And then what? Then you see a lion, like a whole pack of lions, and they're like, oh, what's up? Dinner. Recording. What's up? July. So close and yet so far. January, people. That's where we're at. It's the J's, you know, July, January. January 9th? January 9th, 2023. What? So what's up? What's up, everybody? Recording time. So the recording the thought I wanted to talk about today is one that I had a few days ago, maybe like a week or two ago, actually. I don't know anymore. But it was rainy. It was a rainy day. A rainy morning. Probably a Tuesday. A rainy Tuesday. And very cloudy and cold and rainy, as I said. And I'm driving to work, right? And I see these birds, right? Like all of the birds huddled on the wire together. Like it was a lot of them. And there are usually a lot of birds flying around in that intersection. But yeah, it was just like cute. Like all of them, a whole row of birds all huddled up on the wire in the rain, you know? And it had me thinking about stuff. And okay, I'm a little distracted. Making a left turn here. Okay, we are good. We are golden. Yeah, so the birds are all huddled up, right? And I was just like, yeah, it's probably like it's so cold and rainy, and so it's good for them to be huddled up together to stay warm, you know, and stay safe and help keep each other alive, I guess, until the storm passes. And of course, that had me thinking about life and the metaphorical storms of said life.
Metaphorically speaking.
And just the value of community, right? The importance of community when we are going through trials in life. And I mean, that's really the thought right there, I guess. Not much else to say, but I mean, let's dive into it a little. Because like I said, I don't know, I'm not a bird expert, bird survival expert or anything. But I know if you're, you know, in a snowstorm somewhere and there's only two of you, like, you're going to want to stay close to keep each other warm, the body heat, right? And so just like literally, it's probably similar with birds, I would assume. That's why they were all cuddled up on the wire. We're helping to keep each other warm. And like they can't go anywhere, really. They can't fly in that rainy weather. It was a very rainy day, very cold and rainy. Might have even been windy. I don't think it was that windy though. And normally I feel like you see the birds like in a tree or something, or you don't even see them, like they've gone away and hidden. But there are, like I said, a lot of birds in this intersection. And I don't know why they were all on the wire, but they were, and they're all huddled together. It was so cute. And so there's that practical thing. They're keeping warm, and then just the comfort, you know? Like, I don't know, maybe the close proximity, like they were helping keep each other balanced on the wire. I don't know. Could be. Maybe not. I'd have nothing to do with it. But all these things, you know, I was thinking about, and it's like when we are going through difficult life experiences, difficult seasons, and whether that be grieving a loss, whether that's like losing your job, maybe it's like the things that normally you can rely on every day, like your car, right, getting you from A to B, and suddenly your car's not working, or yeah, you're like you lost your job and now you're struggling to put food on the table, and maybe you have to provide for your kids or something, and you know, it's not just you, so it adds a whole nother element of stress. Maybe you're brokenhearted, you know, whether because someone has passed away, because a relationship has ended, so many things that lead to broken hearts. Seeing the people we love go through Really hard times can be painful as well when you're grieving for the people around you. And all these things, many more, whatever it is for you, you're thinking about it right now. Like when we're going through extremely hard times, it's like we need other people, right? To get through it. We need other people to survive the storm. We need that warmth of a comforting a hug, comforting touch. Whether it's just someone who lets you come over and cry and they just give you a hug, that physical warmth is comforting. Or whether it's a comforting word, an encouraging word that is just poignant, to your situation. That's not what's that proverb? I think it's a proverb. And it's like someone who's yelling when you're waking up, and they're yelling, and it's compared to oh man, I'm butchering it. I'm tempted to go look it up, but I don't know where it is off the top of my head, but I know I have it highlighted in my Bible. Okay, I'll just take a detour. We're at a red light. I'll try to go find it. What do you think? Oh, I bet I could just Google it and then it'll show me, right? So what are we doing? Proverb about yelling in the morning. It's amazing what you can look up and you still get the result. And advice out of season. That makes no sense, but let's see if we get it. 24/7. Oh my gosh, it got it. Okay. So it's Proverbs 27:14. Now I gotta go look it up. This is what's amazing about living in this day and age, 27:14, right? That's what I said. Whoever blesses his neighbor with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, will be counted as cursing. Wait, I don't think it's the one I was looking at for. There's another one. Oh my goodness. I can't remember it. This is sad. I'll find it, and then when I'm editing whatever video goes with this recording, I'll put it on the screen. Okay, but the point is, I'm pretty sure there's a proverb somewhere. I mean, this kind of is it's like when you're just mourning and someone's all loud, and it's there's a time and a place. And that's what I'm saying. It's just when someone gives you a comforting word in the right season, there's somewhere a verse about that. And it fits. It's what I'm trying to say is when someone's down and you come in and you're well, you just got to do this, this, and this. And you're just not reading the room. You're not seeing what they need in that moment. That might be what they need to do. And they might need that advice. But it might just be they need a few weeks to process their grief or something. So hold your horses, bro. That kind of deal. That's what I'm getting at. Whoa, the clouds are really cool. It's those speckly, that's not the word. It's one massive cloud, but then it's so textured, like when you go to the car wash and that you get the wax on the front of the car and it mushes together, kind of foamy. It's like that. It looks so cool. Wow. Anyways, yeah, comforting. Maybe it's a comforting word you need. Maybe it's people who are going through it also. Maybe some of your closest friends or your family are all going through difficult things all at the same time. And in that, you can kind of empathize with each other and hold each other up because you're I feel you. I also am crying every night because this is so hard to process. Or I am yelling in my car because I'm just so angry at the world. Just being able to relate with people and be human in that and show that we're struggling. And that's why I love that verse. That I was just laughing because I was it's that verse, and I have no idea what verse I'm gonna pull. The stunt I just pulled with that Proverbs. I was way Samsonite. I was way off. Oh, classic. Okay. What am I talking about? Oh, that verse where it's we are able to comfort others with the comfort we have received from the Lord. And I love that because we're going through it, right? And sometimes it just feels what is even the purpose of this? And sometimes we don't get an answer to that. Maybe we will later on. Maybe we never really will understand it. But something I've always found cool is that no matter what, when we go through things, we're growing in our ability to empathize with others because we're experiencing pain, and then you go and you see someone else who's doing that, and we can be there for them. Like, if anything, going through this trying time, and if I allow myself to accept that and trust God as I go through it, then I'll find comfort in Him, and then I'll grow to a place where I'm able to comfort and encourage a friend or a stranger or a coworker or a family member who are going through a hard time, as I was, and so just like, I've always thought that is cool. At least there's that, right? At least there's that takeaway, which when you're in it might not be comforting, because you're like, I literally don't, why did I have to go through this just to be able to comfort someone else when they go through it? That's not even fair. Why should we all go through it? You can take that perspective on it and stuff, which when you're in it, I get it. You don't always like that. I don't always like that. But when you actually do get to be there for someone and encourage them, it's actually such a beautiful feeling. Like all those birds on the wire, they probably felt so safe and secure, even though they might be scared and cold and just like, man, I want to go fly and look for like, some grain or a worm, get some grub, tasty insect, but like they couldn't, they had to just stay there on the wire. The Wire, in the Doctor Who, The Wire, that episode, they take the faces of people.
I'm the Wire, and I'm hungry.
Okay, so, I guess that's kind of it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to say about it, but, just the reality of community. When you're going through hard times, it can be easy to want to isolate, right? It can be easy to be like, nah, can't handle this, can't deal with other people. Maybe you're like, what you've been through has caused you to be like distrustful. You're like, I don't want to get close to anyone because I can't trust anyone. Or maybe you're just like so sad, you just don't have the motivation. You're like, I don't want to go because I'm just going to be like, you don't want to be around me right now. I'm kind of a downer. You don't want to be around me. And yeah, there's times to break away. There are times to go and be by yourself. And like we see Jesus do that, go and like be alone with the Lord. Go and process and feel all the feels and do what you got to do. But if that becomes the only thing, you start isolating, it's just not good for us. We aren't built for that. We're built for relationship. We are image bearers of the Lord, right? And the Lord is in constant relationship with Himself. And so we also ought to be in relationship with our brothers and sisters, and especially in the faith, right? There is this little metaphor I remember hearing once. I don't know if this is like coined by someone or not. I don't know. It seems like anyone could have made it up. But this whole like idea, you're on a African safari. You're on an African safari. You're in your little safari jeep with the other tour peeps, and you got your guide, right? Your safari guide. And yeah, you're going through some wildlife, right? And like, oh man, look, a lion, a pack of lions. Like, oh boy, they're scary, but like you're safe because you're all together in the Jeep. You got the guide, you got people who know what they're doing, and we're all together, right? But then as soon as you like, say you fell out of the Jeep, right? And and they left you for dead. Say you fall out of the Jeep, right? Like, then you're on your own. You get lost. Maybe you get off the path and you're like, oh my goodness. And then what? Then you see a lion, like a whole pack of lions, and they're like, oh, what's up? Dinner. Like, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're more vulnerable. You are not protected by number, right? Because it's just you. And yeah, that's just how it is with the enemy. That's the analogy that I heard. That's how it's like when we don't have community, especially in the faith, because of the spiritual warfare that's going on. It's so legit, right? It's so real. And when we're together, we can be praying. We can be fighting in that like spiritual realm for one another, praying for each other and reminding each other of God's truth, helping to speak wisdom into each other's lives, in our decision making, and just to have that sense of security and protection. You're going through a hard time, right? What is such a temptation? To just despair, to just be totally devastated and like there's no hope. And if you isolate yourself and then you keep hearing that voice, right, and the devil loves that, he wants to push you away from God and trusting in him. So he's going to start adding into that tendency to despair with like, God wouldn't help you. How could God did God really let this happen to you? And with like these little lies and things, and then you start to believe the lies more than the truth, and you don't have someone there next to you to say, hey, whoa, wait, let's take a look at who God says he is. Let's remember all the things he's done for you. Like when you're in community for a long time, you're able to remind each other, man, remember when like so-and-so in our group was going through this and we all prayed and the way the Lord came through, and like remember when you were struggling with something and like God showed up and guided you, and remember like how faithful he was. We can remind each other when we're not able to remind ourselves of that we have that assurance because we've experienced it firsthand, as well as look at what God's word says. Like he says he's this, and he's proven himself to be that time and time again in history, as well as in our own lives, the more we walk with him. So like as hard as this time seems, let's hold to those truths, right? And they help you, they build you up, and then we can do the same for them when they're going through it. So it's so valuable, right? And I remember like sometimes I was just like, I am so under attack today, and I could text my friend and be like, hey, I need prayer, guys. Like I am feeling really under attack, and my friends are just like prayer warriors. They're just like, we're on it, right? And just to know that I have friends praying for me and praying for my protection, from these spiritual adversaries, right? And just that alone was encouraging. And then you could feel the way God moved through those prayers in your day, and being able to do that for someone also is so amazing. When someone was like, I'm down, I'm like, oh, we are on it, and just being able to pray over them and like text them out a prayer really quick, or call them and just pray on the phone, and just like you leave that feeling empowered and feeling the presence of the Lord in that moment. And that is just so important for our survival in this like spiritual warfare and just in this life as we pursue the things of God. And so yeah, it is super important, and I need that message because I've definitely been isolating. I think I've been saying that in a lot of the recent recordings because I need to make it a priority to be with my friends and to be with my church family and even outside of the church. So the value of community. Like right now, I've had this thought, just sitting in my phone for a while that I wanted to talk about, but it came up again because I feel like so many of my friends right now are going through the hardest times of their life. Like they are enduring such, I don't even know the word for it. Such brokenness, such disappointment, overwhelmed with tasks that they need to do, like stuck in situations that are just unfair, and trying to advocate and fight for themselves and going through extremely trying moments day to day. And man, it's hard, and I hate to see the people I love in such pain and feeling so overwhelmed, grieving, right? And then we all have our own thing too, so it really was just making me sad. And then I felt so comforted though that we got to be together and catch up and talk about all these things. And even though like all of us took our time going around the table crying about where we're at, just feeling totally exhausted and burnt out, and the kind of thing was like I don't even know what to do anymore, that kind of feeling. And like being able to all let that out together and then to like also be able to just hug one another and then go hang out at the park afterwards and do things that make us laugh and smile all the same because we're together. I just left feeling like, man, I wish I could remove these burdens from my friends right now, but I can't, Sometimes we can help in little ways, but there's some things out of our control, and I'm just like, I wish I could take it away so badly. But what I am grateful for is that we can still come together and be there for one another and share our pain and know that we're not alone in our burdens. Other people can come and help hold up our arms when we can't, It's like Moses holding up some rock or whatever, I forget the details. Very rusty, as you can see. Did not prepare for this, but I'll find that verse and put it somewhere on screen. But yeah, just able to have people come alongside and say, okay, yeah, you got to hold this up, but we're going to help hold your arms up so that you can keep holding that stone up or whatever. And it's that coming together of carrying each other's burdens. And it's so important. And yeah, I guess all that to say, seeing the birds on the wire that stormy, cold day, and the way they were just keeping each other warm, surviving through the storm, and and then the next day it's a sunny day and they're all flying about somewhere. And it's just like, we're gonna get through these storms, and having each other, it doesn't mean it takes the pain away. It doesn't fix our situations necessarily. But it does help us to endure through them, knowing there's someone there who has listened to me, who has empathized with me and my pain, who has encouraged me and reminded me of God's truth, that there is hope, that I will get through this. And that is such a beautiful thing and makes it all, I was going to say worth it. And in some ways it is, because you grow in your relationships with those people who stick through those situations with you, who stick by your side through thick or thin. You grow a bond with them more and more over time. And it's just, there's nothing like that. It is one of the most beautiful gifts God could have given us in the way that he created us, and that dynamic of relationships, and the need for community. It's really beautiful. But anyways, that is all for now. I hope that wherever you are, you can find some community to connect with, just have people who are walking with you, praying with you here and now, and at whatever season or stage of life you are in. It's extremely valuable and worth it. So, all right, end scene. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more videos, and leave a comment below of any creating or rambling ideas you'd like to hear in the future. This has been KO, here with you to create eternal perspective.